By and large. The phrase by and large is an idiomatic expression that means generally or all things considered. The origin of this phrase is nautical, and it has its roots in sailing terminology. In sailing, by refers to sailing into the wind, and large means with the wind. The phrase was originally used to describe a ship's ability to sail well both into the wind and with the wind at its back. A ship that could perform well in both conditions was said to sail by and large. Over time, the expression transitioned into everyday language to convey the idea of considering a situation from various angles or taking all factors into account. Today, when someone uses the phrase by and large, they are typically expressing a generalization or providing an overview that takes all relevant factors into consideration. Within an inch of your life. The expression within an inch of your life is a figurative phrase used to convey a very close call or a situation where someone narrowly escaped serious harm or death. The phrase doesn't have a specific historical origin, but it likely emerged from the idea of measuring the closeness of a life-threatening event in inches, emphasizing how close someone came to a fatal outcome. The use of inches as a measure of proximity is common in English idioms, such as give an inch, take a mile, or be within an inch of, where inches symbolize a very small or narrow margin. So when someone says they came within an inch of their life, they are emphasizing the extremely close nature of the situation and suggesting that it was nearly fatal or very dangerous. Posh. The term posh is often used to describe something luxurious, elegant, or upper class. The origin of the word is not entirely clear, but there are a few theories about its etymology. One popular theory suggests that posh originated as an acronym standing for Port Out Starboard Home. According to this theory, wealthy passengers traveling on British ships to and from India in the late 19th and early 20th centuries preferred cabins on the port side, left side when facing forward when heading to India, and on the starboard side, right side, when returning home. This was to avoid the intense sun and heat, and the term posh was supposedly used to denote these more desirable accommodations. However, this acronym theory has been widely debunked by etymologists, and it appears to be a false folk etymology. The true origin of posh remains uncertain. It's possible that it originally came from slang or was borrowed from a Romani word meaning half. Over time, posh evolved to its current usage, referring to something stylish or luxurious. Hit the hay. The phrase hit the hay is an informal expression that means to go to bed or to go to sleep. The origin of this saying can be traced back to the days when mattresses were often stuffed with hay or straw. In rural and agricultural settings, hay was a common material for bedding. The expression likely originated as a colloquial way of referring to the act of lying down or going to sleep on a bed filled with hay. Over time, as mattresses and bedding materials evolved, the phrase persisted in everyday language as a colorful and informal way to express the idea of going to bed. Today, hit the hay is still used to convey the intention to go to sleep. Throw in the towel. The saying, throw in the towel, means to give up or surrender in the face of a challenging situation. The origin of this expression can be traced back to the sport of boxing. In the early 20th century, boxing matches were often brutal and could continue until one of the fighters was unable to continue. In such cases, a cornerman or coach would literally throw a towel into the ring to signal that their fighter was conceding defeat and could not continue the match. The act of throwing in the towel served as a practical and visual indication that the fight should be stopped to prevent further harm to the boxer. Over time, the phrase, throw in the towel, transitioned into a more general idiom used in contexts beyond boxing to convey the idea of giving up or admitting defeat in the face of adversity. Today, it is widely used in everyday language to express the act of surrendering or yielding in various situations. Cut to the chase. The phrase cut to the chase means to get to the main point or the most important part of something without wasting time on unnecessary details. The origin of this saying is attributed to the early days of filmmaking. In the early years of cinema, especially during the silent film era, many films featured long, elaborate chase scenes. These scenes were often added to capture audience attention and add excitement to the movies. However, the chase scenes were not always integral to the plot and were sometimes considered filler. The phrase, "cut to the chase," is believed to have originated as a directive from film directors to skip the less crucial parts of the storyline and move directly to the exciting or essential scenes, often the climactic chase scene. Over time, the expression evolved beyond the film industry and became a widely used idiom in everyday language, signifying the desire to skip the unnecessary and focus on the key elements of a situation or story. Burning the midnight oil. The expression burning the midnight oil is used to describe working late into the night or staying up late to complete a task. The origin of this phrase can be traced back to the use of oil lamps for illumination before the widespread use of electric lighting. Before electric lights became commonplace, people relied on oil lamps to provide light during the night. Burning the midnight oil literally referred to the practice of working or studying late into the night by the light of an oil lamp. The phrase captures the idea of extending one's work hours beyond the usual and into the late hours of the night, symbolized by the use of the oil lamp. As electric lighting became more prevalent, the literal act of burning oil lamps diminished, but the expression persisted in figurative use to describe late-night work or study sessions. Today, burning the midnight oil is a common idiom to convey the dedication and effort put into working late into the night. Cost an arm and a leg. The phrase, "cost an arm and a leg," is an idiom used to express that something is very expensive. The origin of this saying is not definitively known, but there are a few theories. One theory suggests that the expression may have military origins. Soldiers who lost limbs in battle might have incurred substantial medical expenses for treatment and prosthetics. Therefore, the cost of medical care for such severe injuries could be metaphorically described as costing an arm and a leg. Another theory links the phrase to the world of art. In portrait painting, artists historically charged more for larger and more elaborate works, often based on the number of limbs included in the portrait. Portraits depicting a person with all four limbs visible might have been more expensive than those with fewer limbs. While these theories provide interesting context, the true origin remains uncertain. Nevertheless, the phrase has become a common and widely used idiom in English to convey the idea of something being excessively expensive. Hit the nail on the head. The phrase, "hit the nail on the head," is an idiom used to express that someone has grasped a situation accurately or has identified the central point of an issue. The origin of this saying is associated with the act of carpentry and accurately driving a nail into wood. In carpentry, hitting the nail on the head literally means striking the nail in the correct spot with precision. If a carpenter successfully hits the nail on the head, it goes straight into the wood, securing the materials effectively. The accuracy of hitting the nail on the head is crucial for the stability and integrity of the structure being built. The metaphorical use of the expression emerged, highlighting the idea that making a precise and accurate observation or comment is akin to hitting the nail on the head in carpentry. Over time, the phrase transitioned into everyday language and is now commonly used to commend someone for making a particularly insightful or accurate remark. Jump on the bandwagon. The phrase jump on the bandwagon is an idiom that means to adopt a popular activity or trend, often without much thought or consideration, simply because it is currently fashionable or widely accepted. The origin of this saying is rooted in American political history. In the 19th century, particularly during political campaigns, candidates would often use wagons or carts to transport their campaign materials and make public appearances. These wagons were sometimes adorned with musical bands playing lively tunes to attract attention and create a festive atmosphere. As a campaign gained momentum and more people supported a particular candidate, spectators or even rival politicians would figuratively jump on the bandwagon to join the popular movement. The expression gradually evolved to represent the broader concept of joining a popular trend or movement, not limited to political contexts. Today, jumping on the bandwagon is a common idiom used in various situations to describe adopting a popular opinion, trend, or activity.